Blood and boundaries. Once upon a time in the city of Eastwood, the Befo family was one of the wealthiest and most respected. Chief Nene Kobina Befo was a business magnate, known across the country for his vast investments, real estate, oil, agriculture, logistics. He built an empire from the ground up and raised his 3 sons with pride and precision. Kojo, the firstborn, was groomed to take over. A stern, responsible man with a calculated mind and a controlled temper. Yo, the middle child, was the people's man, charming, jovial, and diplomatic, always smoothing tension between his elder and younger brothers. And then there was Kenneth, the youngest, gentle, spiritual, introverted, the type who would rather give up his share of meat than argue at the dinner table. They had always been close. Even after they got married and moved into separate homes, they lived on the same estate their father built, 3 luxurious townhouses side by side. People admired their unity. Their father often said during interviews, "Unity is my legacy, not just my empire." Kojo was married to Abina, a polished woman from a prominent family. She ran her own boutique and carried herself like royalty. Yo's wife, Anne, was bubbly and ambitious, quick-tongued, loud, and fiercely loyal. Kenneth married Nonna, a quiet woman who kept to herself and watched everything like a hawk. Unlike the brothers, their wives were not close. But as long as Chief Befo lived, peace reigned. Then, one chilly morning in July, the call came. "Daddy's gone." Just like that, the lion of the house was no more. The funeral was a national event. Thousands came. The casket alone cost more than what most people earned in a year. But amid the rituals, prayers, and eulogies, something darker began to stir. The will. Everyone whispered about it, but none of the brothers brought it up until a month after the funeral. They met at their father's study. Mahogany table, glass windows, and the scent of old books lingering in the air. The family lawyer read out the will. Everything was to be shared equally among the 3 brothers. Each got a third of the estates, businesses, vehicles, lands, and foreign accounts. Even the family house, the mansion in Airport Hills, was to be rotated yearly as a holiday home for their families. At first, silence. Then Kojo asked, "So I spent 10 years running Befo Holdings just to share it equally?" Yo smirked. "And I spent 10 years cleaning your messes. Let's not play the victim." Kenneth said nothing. He just stared at his father's empty leather chair. Later that night, their wives weighed in. Abina said to Kojo, "You're the first son. They should have left control of the company to you. Don't just sit there and let Yo and Kenneth enjoy what they didn't work for." And whispered to Yo, "Kojo wants to be king. You better not let him push you aside. Your father respected you too. Fight for what's yours." Nonna's words to Kenneth were simple: "Don't be too quiet. Quiet people get cheated." From there, things unraveled fast. Meetings turned into arguments. Joint projects stalled. Kojo refused to sign over his share of the logistics firm, claiming it needed auditing. Yo accused him of hoarding documents. Kenneth stopped attending family business meetings altogether. One afternoon, Kojo parked in front of the family mansion and found Yo's workers renovating the exterior without his permission. He slapped a stop work order on the gate. The once tight-knit brothers were at war. Tensions exploded at their mother's birthday dinner. Madame Oma Befo had invited just her sons and their wives. She hoped food and old memories would heal the cracks. But the moment dessert was served, there was chaos. Kojo accused Yo of diverting funds from their late father's foundation. Yo fired back, saying Kojo had sold one of their father's properties in Tokoradi without informing them. Nonna, quietly sipping her juice, added softly, "We all know what's been going on." Abina snapped at Nonna, "Don't play saint. You've been manipulating Kenneth like a puppet. And jumped in. At least Nonna doesn't go around acting better than the rest of us like you, Abina. Madam Omar shouted, enough. But it was too late. Kojo stood. From today, I'm pulling out of the foundation. Let each man manage his own. You stormed out. Kenneth didn't say a word, he just looked at his mother and said, I failed you, before leaving. The media soon got wind of the Befo feud. Headlines screamed, Befo Empire in crisis. Shareholders panicked. Long-time employees quit. Clients pulled out. The empire their father built was crumbling under the weight of ego, greed, and bitterness. At home, their marriages also began to strain. The constant tension wore everyone thin. Abina and Kojo argued more. You stopped going home some nights. Kenneth spent more time in prayer rooms than with Nonna. Their mother, Oma Befo, suffered a mild stroke from the stress. The empire was not the only thing breaking. It took Oma Befo's hospital admission to shake the brothers to their senses. They met at the hospital lounge, each arriving separately, each carrying guilt on their faces. Their mother, weak but alert, asked only one question. What would your father say if he saw you today? That night, they stayed in the hospital together. Kojo confessed that he had indeed fast-tracked a land deal without full disclosure, but only because you kept stalling decisions. You admitted he'd siphoned funds temporarily to cover debts from a bad investment. Kenneth shared that he had been receiving messages from the company's accountant, evidence of both their shady dealings, but said nothing because he felt invisible in the family. For the first time, they didn't shout. They listened. They cried. They remembered growing up in their father's study, pretending to be CEOs. They remembered family game nights, summer trips, the time Kojo beat up a bully for hitting you in primary school. The unity. The love. What had happened? Greed had happened. Pride. And influence from people who didn't grow up in that house. They decided to take a break from business, go back to their father's villa in Ekosombo for a week, just them. They cooked together. Laughed. Dug out old photos. Prayed. Forgave. It was not perfect. But it was something. Back in the city, they met with their lawyers and restructured the estate. They dissolved all joint ownership. Kojo took full control of Befo Holdings, but 15% of its yearly profit would go into the family foundation led by Kenneth. You took over Befo Logistics and agreed to a full audit. They created a board made up of trusted outsiders to avoid power hoarding. They also built the Befo Trust, a foundation for education and family counseling, in their father's name. Kenneth ran it full-time. Their relationships with their wives also began to shift. The brothers set boundaries, family decisions would stay between the brothers first before involving spouses. The women, though not friends, learned to tolerate each other, realizing that peace served everyone better than war. 3 years later, the Befo name regained its glory. Not just in business but in reputation. At the annual foundation gala, Kojo gave a speech that ended with, "Our father left us property. Our mother gave us wisdom. But only when we almost lost each other did we learn the real inheritance was brotherhood." The crowd clapped. In the front row, Madam Oma Befo wiped her tears and whispered, "Now, I can rest." Let me know if you enjoyed this story and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page.